of a minor school license to include driving for farm-related purposes if the minor resides on or is employed by a farm, and provided the driving distance between the point of origin and the destination is no greater than 50 miles.
Students who are homeschooled are also eligible for the change, but must be dual enrolled and have their designated school official provide the certificate of need for the license. The other change approved is in regard to CDL renewal, which can now be done online.
Prior to the 2021 legislative change, a CDL holder was not able to renew their license electronically, even though online renewal has been an option for several years for non-commercial driver's license holders.
Non-commercial license holders have been able to renew online for several years, according to Gillette. For more information on these stories and more, log on to yourfortdodge.com. From the Jerry Sheeter Newsroom, I'm Kelly Heinen.
Michael Devine, the Doctor of Truth.
Does anyone have anything they'd like to confess?
At AM 1400 KVFD.
All right. This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice for Dodge. I'm Michael Devine, exactly 3:30. And we're in the Blue Ribbon Pelham Waters studio. Blue Ribbon Pelham Waters at 612 South 32nd Street. You may contact Blue Ribbon Pelham Waters by calling 576-6481. Of course, I only have fabulous people on my show. I had the fabulous Janice Valentine on about a half an hour ago. Now we have the fabulous Representative Ann Meyer. It's always good to see you, Ann, and I thank you for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me again.
Of course. Now, the governor, we might as well dive in. The governor has called a special session for October 5th, I believe.
Yep, October 5th.
And what is the reason for this special session?
So every 10 years, the census is done, and the districts have to be redrawn. The congressional districts and the legislative districts have to be redrawn. In caucus. Well, they went out to the public yesterday at 10 a.m. So now we have to look over them very carefully. And October 5th is actually the day we go back to vote on them, first in state government as a committee, and then on the floor. So we'll just decide if these maps turn out to, and we still have to study them. But if these maps turn out not to be satisfactory, we'll vote them. It's either an up or a down vote. We can't do any changes with the maps. This is and one thing people should know about the map, the maps that come out of Legislative Service Agency. These are completely nonpartisan, drawn by the Legislative
There's no such thing,
Agency.
Ann, but go ahead.
And I believe really it's just a computer program based on population. So I showed you a copy of the congressional map, and that's also available.
May I put it on Facebook? Or?
Yeah, please. Okay. That's also available on the legislative website. And if you go to my Facebook page, you can get a link to that.
Oh, okay.
The thing with this is we will be voting it up and down. The legislature will be voting it up or down. However, there's public comment there's a period of public comment. So if you go on that, if you click on that link, you'll see the public comment section, and everyone is invited to weigh in on those. So you have the congressional map, which you're putting up on Facebook right now, but you can see that Randy Feenstra will be putting a lot of miles on his car.
Man, I guess. Feenstra's got, what did you say, 44
counties? Yeah.
Wow.
He stretches from Council Bluffs up to northern.
Clear up into Chickasaw and Howard County. He goes from Fremont, which is the extreme southwest county in the state, to the Minnesota border, over to Howard and Chickasaw counties, which is wow.
You could practically draw a line, not horizontal, but half the state.
Yeah. Well, this again appears to be a Democratic, an effort to put Democratic congressmen from Iowa into play here. And I'm speaking specifically about Story County. Story County has been in the 4th District for a long time.
Yes.
I see this new map has it in the same county as, Dubuque. Dubuque used to be a strong Union town, a very Catholic town. But to have Story County in District 2 now. It doesn't make any real sense to me since we have Feenstra all over the place here. Why didn't he keep Story County? Because the people of Story County complained, I think, or at least not the people of Story County, but the university. Universities are usually liberals and state
That is
workers.
correct. That is
state
true. They
workers
typically are.
they want to take all these progressive positions, but what they really want is the money. And they figure the Democrats will get it for them. Anyway, the People's Republic of Johnson County and Lynn County are in a very small District 1.
Right.
So is that where Miller Meeks is now? I think it is.
She is in that. And then
right
now.
Ashley's up here in District 2. Is that what?
Yeah.
Ashley
I
Hinson?
honestly don't know the number, but Ashley's current district includes Lynn County because that's where she lives. It
Yeah.
also includes, I believe, Waterloo, Dubuque. So she actually does represent. She represents a purple area.
Purple area.
Yeah.
Well, Lynn County, as you can see, and Johnson County are the same. So Ashley's either going to have to move.
Well,
which I know
no, she will. If that's the case, she'll stay in. She'll run for District 1.
Well, she'd be running against another Republican. I mean, there'd have to be a nomination process through the Republican
right.
Party.
Are they in the same district now, Miller
Yes,
Meeks?
they would be.
Is that what it is?
Miller Meeks has had Johnson County, the People's Republic of Johnson County.
Right.
And of course, the university got hysterical when Miller Meeks won by 6 votes.
I'm not
over
sure
Rita
she
Hart.
lives there, though. I'm not sure she lives in. She represents Johnson County now, but I don't know that she lives there. Miller Meeks is currently in District 2 because she lives over a little bit west of Johnson. So she is currently
Living in District 2 that way, isn't that? Or no, Ashley Hinson.
Ashley
This-
Hinson lives in Lynn.
Yeah. Excuse me. District 1, they have got me all screwed up here, or I'm screwed up in general. But District 1 used to run up further north, it took Dubuque.
Well, it used to be just an X right or a cross right through the middle of the state, practically.
So now it's a very small. It looks like area wise, it could be the smallest congressional district in the state.
Yep.
But I suspect that I'd have to check on this. If anybody knows for sure, call 955-1400. But I believe this would put Ashley Hinson, a Republican, in the same congressional district as Miller Meeks. I could be wrong.
I could be too.
Yeah, and it looks like Feenstra is going to be the congressman for life over here in the 4th Ward. And of course, wherever there's going to be a Democratic congressperson from Iowa, as long as we have Polk County, where state government is. Again, they can be for transgender rights or whatever they want to be. But again, what they really want is the money. The government employees always want the money.
Well, we have some good candidates. We had some good candidates for the Polk County congressional district, though. Zach Nunn, who is a current Iowa State senator, a young fella, military,
Zach Nunn.
Zach Nunn. Yep. He was a state representative. Then he ran for Senate, replaced someone in the Senate. And again, he's military. He's young. He's got a beautiful young family and a smart, sharp guy. He could take Polk County, I do think.
Well, I would hope so.
And then we also have another candidate down there, Hasso. She is also a good, strong conservative candidate, and she's
What's her
an
name?
African-American female. I want to say Hassett.
I think I know more African Americans on a personal level than most of the Democrats in Webster County. I really do, and they're a little bit, they're going to vote Democratic. They're going to stay true to their school.
Miller
But-
Meeks lives in Wapello. I was just updated.
Wapello.
Yes.
Okay, which county is that in? I
It's
can't
Atumwa. It's at the Atumwa area.
No, Tumwa area, really?
So Wapello County.
Wapello County. Here it is down here.
So
Okay.
is it pink in that
No,
map?
it's green. It's part of
Oh,
District
okay.
2.
So that's what I did think. Yeah, I thought
right.
it was. She was in too.
So maybe we're going to be all right there. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. We have to turn back this tide of vulgarity that's coming out of the Democratic Party, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, but that's just me. You're the one that everybody wants to hear. And so, by the way, if you do have a question or comment for Representative Ann Myers, it's 955-1400. That's 955-1400. It doesn't have to be social issues. That's just something I kick around all the time. But
I
they're-
do
they're-
wish that there was less nasty rhetoric from both parties.
You're not the type of person that gets involved in that. I know.
No, I try.
I'm the type of person that gets involved in that.
I've noticed.
I'll get right in there every time.
I've seen a few of your arguments on
Oh, yeah.
social media.
Oh yeah. If they let me on I write the Des Moines Register regularly. They don't really print me that often.
Hey, that candidate I was telling you about in Polk County, her name is Nicole Hasso.
Nicole Hasso.
Yep, she's a strong conservative African American female, and she's been endorsed by Ted Cruz. Thanks to my source that's listening and keeping me up on what's going on.
I believe Ted Cruz, and I could be wrong. Congressman Steve King brought Mrs. Cruz, Heidi Cruz. Heidi, was that her name? Brought Ted Cruz's wife in here one day, and we all talked about. And this was around the time of the 2016 Republican nomination process. By the way, Mrs. Cruz, I'm not trying to be sexist by using Mrs., but she's just a delightful person, very intelligent, great sense of humor.
Sure.
Again, Congressman King was pushing Ted Cruz, and I believe he won the state of Iowa. I don't know if Trump did or not. Does anybody know, during the Republican nomination process, did Donald Trump or Ted Cruz win the state
Ted
of Iowa?
Cruz ran.
ran.
Ted Cruz won. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Because I caucused for Donald Trump.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. And and Donald Trump did not win the caucus in Iowa. I believe it was Ted Cruz.
No, I think it was too.
Yeah.
Would you? I got a trick question here for you, man. Here it comes. Would you support Donald Trump today?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
I really loved our economic policies.
They were very successful.
You know what? Your personality or your social media presence means nothing to me.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see the country doing well. And we were tough to our adversaries across the ocean. You know, we were tough in the international committee. We were in the community. We were respected. Our
Gas was
economic
$1 cheaper.
our economic policies were good. The tax cuts that took place during Donald Trump, that administration, that made our economy stronger.
Donald Trump would not allow, he used his influence successfully to prevent the Russians from running a pipeline into Germany. Joe Biden, of course, killed the Keystone pipeline, but he took the Trump restriction off the Russian pipeline into Germany.
Genius.
Just brilliant. Germany very much wanted a pipeline, by the way. They wanted if the United States didn't want Germany to have the Russian pipeline in their country, they said, okay, United States, do something about it. Well, that was part of the Keystone thing. So, Mr. Climate Change, again, very selective. I mean, does somebody turn the lights on around Joe Biden because he's looking kind of dim. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm getting back into my talk show mode, and this is your time, man, your time. So please continue.
Well, I am disappointed in some of the things that are happening. I don't. You want to get into the mandates that are going on in the state and the country? I'd be happy to talk about that. So, our healthcare facilities, our hospital systems in Iowa, they are mandating that all of their employees be vaccinated, and this is a couple months. We're a couple months into this now from the first one, and I always talk. People come to me. Many people have contacted me on this, and again, when we're providing healthcare, we and our training, when we're training for healthcare, we've always had to be up on our vaccinations. I've always had to have an MMR up to date. I've always had to have an influenza shot every year. We've had to have our hepatitis. We probably have to have more vaccines than any other industry because we're taking care of sick people.
Hospital workers you're
Right,
talking about.
exactly.
People- Are you
Yep.
still working at the hospital or not?
I am not right now. I haven't been there since in December.
Okay.
So, but anyway, I do agree that, healthcare workers should probably be vaccinated if they, want a medical exemption or a religious exemption. As far as I know, there have been very, very few, under 10 in the state that have been denied. So if you're out there and you've applied for if you really do not want to get vaccinated as a healthcare worker and you've applied for an exemption, you've been denied, please give me a call, give me an email, whatever. My number is 570-6610. So, I've always felt that way, and then just the broader picture, there are some employers that are mandating vaccines. While I'm disappointed that they're doing that, I don't think it's state government's job to go in and put more regulations on business owners. I don't. I think that they should be able to say how their employees should be qualified. They should be able to choose the requirements of their employees.
Choose the requirements. What do you mean by that?
Vaccinations,
Vaccinations. Okay.
trainings,
So-
everything.
You believe that an employee should make the decision for the employee? Is that what you're saying?
They should be able to require their employees to be vaccinated if that's the case. However, in our state right now, we have a shortage of workers, including healthcare. So I think that the marketplace.
I want to, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I want to make sure what you're saying.
Okay.
Are you talking about just hospitals, or all employees should be able to demand their employees get vaccinated?
I would be disappointed if all employers did that, but I don't think that it's the state's government's job to say, okay, we can't put mandates. Businesses can't put mandates on people. Okay, so let me go over to the federal government.
You are then putting the employer in a position where they can demand their employees get an injection of something they may not want for a number of reasons.
That is well, and that no one is. We have the right to life, liberty, and happiness.
Pursuit of happiness, certainly.
We don't have the right to demand anyone give us a job.
That's right. Do we have the right to demand that they get a shot on the basis of getting a job?
If you're a private business employer, I again would be disappointed if you did that. But yes, I think that employers can choose to recommend that of their.
Because that's the Joe Biden position. You know that, don't you, Ann?
Okay, no, that's different.
How so?
It's different because the private business has established themselves
Mm-hmm.
and they can require what they want of their employees. When you're asking state government to go in there and say, you can't make that mandate, what's the difference between that and then Biden coming in and telling businesses, you have to do that? I'm against that. I'm against the government giving directions to business, whether it's state government or whether it's federal government.
But government represents all the people, Ann. And I don't want to, go on and on about this. But employers are employers; they're not slave owners. And I wonder if what kind of path we're going on if we allow employers this right. Biden, by the way, has insisted that all federal employees, and by the way, the federal government is the biggest employer in the country. He has insisted that federal employees and even the military become vaccinated. Now that's a sweeping mandate. He is also working with business groups to allow them to do exactly what you're saying. He wants employers, and he's advocating this idea, and he is contacting business groups all over the country to force their employees to vaccinate.
And he can advocate all he wants to. I'm against the federal government mandate.
But you're not against the employer mandate.
Correct.
All right. All right. All right. We're good now. We're going to move off of that.
Okay.
All right. At least I know your position.
Well, I do believe in exemptions. I do believe that people should give exemptions for religious.
So you don't believe in some police officers coming, holding a person down, and giving an injection?
No, I don't believe in that
I'm
at all.
messing with you, Myers. Beware, ladies and gentlemen. Ann Myers is personally going to come to your house, hold you down, and inject you.
That is absolutely not the case. There's another
You've been
thing
around
though,
me a long time. There's no need for you to blush when I say these kind of outrageous things.
but you know what? There is something though I would like to talk about.
Please do.
One more thing about the vaccines is there are some people that do not want to get vaccinated because they've had COVID. I agree with that because they have antibodies, just like the vaccine gives you antibodies and COVID gives you antibodies. If you can prove you have antibodies, you don't need an injection.
I understand. I got the vaccine anyway. Anyway, AM 1400 KBFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. You're on the air with Representative Meyer.
Well, I just wanted to call in for a second. I know you guys kind of moved on past the vaccine thing, but I just kind of wondered, has all this been played out before? Because as Representative Meyer probably knows, I think to get into nursing school, you're required to take certain vaccines before you can even enroll. I mean,
Yes.
I just think this has probably all been played out before and hashed out before at some point.
Yes, exactly. As an employee of, I can tell you, employee of Unity Point, since I practiced there as a nursing instructor, I had to, and the students have to follow the policy of their training facility, which would be the hospital. And they're required to have influenza vaccine every year. Again, they're required to have MMR up to date and several other vaccinations up to date. So yes, we've had
think
this.
It's all been played out at some point. I mean, surely somebody's been mad about this before and has brought this to somebody's attention, and it's been like, no, this is how it is, you know.
Well, may I say something, Ann?
Yes.
Sir, when I was in the military years ago, they just lined us up and vaccinated us whenever they thought they needed to. But we were in the military, you know, we were all about orders. The military is all about following orders. But we don't talk about individual freedom enough in this country. We talk about rights and rules and regulations and blah, blah, blah. But the individual, even though the individual may have ideas that we find vulgar or wrong, has a right, as far as I'm concerned, to make a decision on their own. If they can't, they're not a free human being. Would you agree with me on that or not?
Yeah, and I think Ann Myers is right on with that.
She didn't say that.
If you don't want to go to a particular nursing school, go find one that doesn't take a shot. If you don't agree with your employer requiring something, go find someone that doesn't, you know.
I think that's a little drastic. Maybe you've been on the job 25, 30 years. You know, maybe you're a good employer and all of a sudden COVID changes everything. I just don't, I don't think that is in the interest of individual. Yeah, your point.
COVID hasn't changed anything. These colleges have required people to take shots for years.
Yep.
You are, yeah. That's you're not addressing my point. And I would like you to do that. And my point is again that an individual has a right under God or not to make decisions about their own lives without an employer or a government making any of those decisions for them. Do you agree with that or not?
Yeah, I agree with that. I do.
So you and the caller had mentioned this has been mandated for nurses, for healthcare workers for a long time. I want to tell you I want to go back to an instance that happened, I want to say 10 years ago in Michigan. One of my friends, when they first started mandating flu shots, and you can look it up online, I'm sure. Her name was Karen Bashista. We worked together for a long time. When they started mandating flu shots, she refused and took it to the courts, and she lost. I mean, with the knowledge that when you're providing health care, you do have that employer has the right to demand their employees be safe when they're when they're providing that care and protect their patients. Now, if you refuse that shot, which you can, but you will either be under the American Disabilities Act, you will either be placed in a non-patient facing job, because if you are compromised as a patient and I could possibly infect you, that's not right. Or we have to wear a mask constantly when we're facing patients. And that's the way the flu shot has worked out for several years. If you for some reason can't take a flu shot, you'll either be placed in a non-patient facing job or you will be wearing a mask all through flu season.
Question authority. That was the motto of the 60s, sir. You remember?
I understand. I just wanted to bring to the discussion. I think this has all been hashed out before, COVID or
Yes.
not.
Well, it's a good point.
2020, we've all talked about this before, and there's been a precedent set. If you go to the Iowa Central website, it talks about what shots on there you're required to have. If you go to the University of Iowa website, it talks on there of what shots you're required to have to attend. This has all been handled. This has all taken place before.
Yeah. Hopefully we're a less servile nation as we continue the road of freedom, so to speak. And by the way, you may or may not know this. I nearly died of COVID about a year ago. And after I got out of the hospital, I got vaccinated. And if I need a booster shot, I'll get that too. So, but I will always make an argument on individual freedom and against really these sort of coerced measures to get us to toe any sort of line at all. But anyway, I thank you for your call. You brought up some great points.
Yeah, great points. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Ann Myers, our guest at AM 1400, KVFD, the voice for Dodge. Tim Cranbreak, of course, has a different idea, but you know.
And that's fine.
That's fine. That's right.
Exactly. Because you know what? He owns his own business.
Yep.
And he does not require his employees. And that's what America is about. There's different views. There are different views. And so I agree with him. He doesn't treat patients face to face. He has and I will tell you another one more thing about Senator. He's had COVID as well.
Yes, he has.
And he's not shy about that. I'm not sharing his medical information. But if he has antibodies, he may or may not need the injection. But you do have to get tested. I think you should know if you're counting on that, whether you've been vaccinated or whether you've had COVID, both, because we don't know how long the vaccine lasts. Have your antibodies tested. And I'm going to let everyone know the best way to have your antibodies tested is to go give blood, because you're helping somebody. You can save 3 lives when you give a unit of blood, and you can get your antibodies tested for free.
I was going to class reunion. I got COVID tested over here at Community Health before I went because I knew people were flying in from around the country and other states and that sort of thing. I was negative, thank God. But no, COVID is a terrible scourge. It is. It's a terrible thing. And I'm not trying to make light of it or suggest that we shouldn't all be a part of an effort to get rid of COVID. But somehow this got to be a Democratic Party thing. This whole, we're going to vaccinate and wear a mask. That's
and
our
I don't
thing.
understand how it became a party issue because our last administration is the administration that was responsible for developing a vaccine so quickly.
Right. Yeah.
And if you listen, I think there was a rally last week or 2 weeks ago, and our previous President Trump said he's been vaccinated. He encourages other people to get vaccinated. So I don't know how this became. And there's an interesting statistic that I've heard about, which if you look at the stats on who's been vaccinated and who hasn't, it doesn't really fall in party lines. And I don't have the numbers with me right now, but I could get them to you. But it's whether you've been vaccinated or not is there's a very interesting correlation with your income level.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
So
are you trying to say dumb people don't get vaccinated or what?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that people who may be I don't know what the reason for that is, but that is income level does follow vaccine rates.
You have turned into a radio professional because you don't take any guff off me anymore. You immediately correct me when there was a time when you'd freeze during the headlights when I'd say something like that.
Well,
Yeah, I think you got comfortable with me. You got a lot more experience speaking before groups or something.
Well,
Which
and
you
I
probably
think
have.
when you know, when you feel more confident about the subject.
Yeah. Oh,
you
yeah.
know, I definitely feel confident about this subject. I've tried to learn as much as I can about
Yeah.
it. If you start talking to me about agriculture issues, I will not be as confident. You
Yeah.
could tell me something like,
Well, we'll work on that. We'll work on that. I'll tell you, Helen Miller, who had the seat before you did, a New Jersey girl, lawyer, all those things. She really went to work on agricultural issues, and she learned it, and she was very, very good at it.
and you know, that's why I like to depend on Mike Representative Sexton for that,
The scrap
because
store.
he gives me a lot of he really can't, obviously he's a farmer and he's a sheep farmer, and he can
Yep.
tell me everything that's going on and
Yep.
how things work.
I missed the scrapster over here, but I don't know. He was mad at me or something. Anyway, thank you, Ann.
Thank you.
4:00 in the afternoon. You're listening to KVFD in Fort Dodge, Iowa. It's 4:00.
This is a Fox News alert. A split vote on booster shots. I'm Lisa Brady. An FDA advisory panel just recommending an emergency use authorization